was a terrific performance by Brandon Gonzalez, the best performance of his career. I give great credit to his trainer, who was a great trainer. And Brandon, you fought a great fight tonight, and that fight easily could have gone your way. We got a draw. I don't think it was an outrageous draw, but like I said, if I was you, I'd be disappointed too. So you got nothing but respect from me, and congratulations on a great performance. And I'll say a few words.
First of all, I just want to thank everybody involved with HBO for giving me the opportunity. It's great to see 5 or 17 fights coming in HBO after dark, and thank you for that opportunity. Team, of course, first one, my trainer, James Prince, my manager, they've been down for me ever since we got on board with this. With the Belly people, class act, treated me very nice. And it was a great night. It was happy to be here. We didn't get the decision. I felt, clearly outboxed this Blues guy. A lot of people told me that I thought I won the fight, and I agreed. I'm extremely disappointed in the decision today. But things happen in the sport of boxing. I'm taking it as a loss. I'm not going to accept a draw. It's either one way or the other with me. If we didn't win, we lost. So we're going to go back to the drawing board, and we're going to come back stronger, definitely, and make sure something like this can't happen again. And thanks for everybody for coming out. Again, my team, Virgil and James, thank you for being here by my side. It was extremely disappointing. That my promoter Dan Kusin was not here this evening. It would have been a great opportunity for all of us to perform on the big stage, and I'm extremely disappointed that he decided to miss out tonight. But again, I think for the team members that did show up, and were in my corner since we started this. So thank you, everybody, and we'll be back definitely strong.
And I do hope you think that my people treated you with the respect that you deserve.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you, and you did a lot today. I think tonight was a victory for you, not a loss. So congratulations, and that's how you should walk out taking it. Virgil, thank you. Anybody has questions for Brandon in the meantime? We're waiting. Go ahead. And if not, Mr. Chairman, go out and go back to the evening. Enjoy.
Where's Thomas?
Probably licking his wounds. He can't be pleased with his performance tonight. I think Brandon said that he feels like he walked away with a loss. I can tell you, I'm sure Thomas walked away feeling like he walked away with a loss. Also, he's not here right now, but respect to Quayle, who came over here and gave Willie Nelson a handful. Gave him everything. I thought Willie won that fight. It was a close fight, and I don't think Willie expected it to be that close. James, thank you. Good seeing you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Anyone have any inevitable questions? So I'm going to get out of here before the bars close up with beer after introducing guys. So if there's anybody here that my buying? You know what? Someone should be buying me the beer because I ran this whole friggin' promotion. But I want to tell you something. It was a good night. As someone who loves the sport, tonight was the night that a star was born, and that's good for boxing. And considering that there's doors closed for me in a lot of places in this sport, I'm glad that there's a star born on the HBO side of the street.
But look, you're a spot promoter. Who would you like to see Golovkin go in the ring with next?
Man, ain't nobody gonna want him in the ring with him. Sergio, I'm answering the inevitable question now, and it's gonna be asked again later, and I'm not gonna answer it again later, so I'll answer it once. Sergio's out for at least a year. And anyone who saw his last fight, he won it on guts and heart and balls alone because he had no knee, he had no hand. And I'm not sending a champion who's 38 years old after a year plus layoff into a ring with this guy. So, I'm not saying he'll never fight. And I know that Sergio, I'm not speaking for Sergio because Sergio's a grown-ass man who controls his own career. But I'll put Sergio Martinez aside because I think he belongs in an echelon with the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and he belongs there no matter what. But if you want to know right now, the successor to Sergio Martinez has already been determined. The next great middleweight is Triple G.
Lou, you've been in this position as a television executive. If you were still in that position, would you make it clear, obviously Sergio is not available to fight.
Yeah.
If you were in the position of running a network that was in the business of Golovkin...
I wouldn't take it on, if there's a good middleweight and you don't want to fight Triple G, I don't put him on the air.
Okay, that's simple.
It's that simple. I mean, it really has to. I mean, it has to be that simple because they're going to have to force. They're going to have to force great fights. And I pulled Ken Hershman aside and I said, you know, Matthew Mack, still believe Matthew Mack. I saw Proxy last night and he sucks. You know, and Sergio Martinez won every round against him. And I still believe Matthew Macklin probably beats, you know, just about anybody in the middleweight division other than Sergio Martinez and Triple G. And you know what? There's also certain times, like again, Sergio's going to determine who he fights, but sometimes timing just doesn't intersect very well. You know, like I have a champion right now with no knee and bad hands, and you know, told by doctors to take over a year off. So to sit here and answer idiots on Twitter tweeting at me about Sergio when I'm telling everybody he can't fight until spring of 2014, like I love boxing fans. Anyone who follows Twitter, who read my tweet about Triple G, I'll repeat what I said. I said, he is an absolute beast. He is an animal. He is an old school, great fighter. And I have nothing but respect for him. And that's it. That's what I think of him. But, you know, like any idiots that are out there screaming, like, I'm going to take a guy out after a 14-month layoff and he's 38 years old and start telling everybody I want to make that fight right now. I'm not going to say that. Also, you know, in truth, tonight was the first night in the star making of Gennady Golovkin, and I don't want. I ain't going to down anybody, but I ran this whole promotion, and you know, it's what it is. I mean, this is, thank God, I have Foxwoods is a great place to do fights. You saw that there was a lot of Irish people in that crowd, but you know, Gennady's going to have fans, and he's going to develop a big fan base, and I think it's going to be a fan base that grows with every fight, and I expect him to be a superstar because that's his quality. He has superstar ability. Like, it's going to grow, and anybody who watches this guy fight is going to see how good he is. I mean, he's just that good. I heard that body shot. Like, I didn't have to see Matthew go down. And I'm telling you, like, that's the second time I've been in boxing that I heard a body shot. The first time was when Roy Jones hit Virgil Hill. And I was like, my God, that sounded like a lightning bolt struck. But when that body shot landed, like, nobody would have gotten up from that body shot. There's not a fighter in the world that would have gotten up from that body shot. That was perhaps the greatest body shot I've witnessed live. You know, I mean, that's right up there with Roy Jones and Virgil Hill. So, you know, I give nothing but respect and props to Triple G. I think he's a great fighter.
Lou,
by the way, I don't regret anything I said before because I still think the quality of his opposition until tonight, you know, wasn't great. But to be honest with you, a lot of it wasn't his fault. Who wants to get in the ring with that animal?
Lou, as it relates to Willie Nelson, he won tonight. Did you see a guy that needs more seasoning? Would you like to see him more rounds before he gets to the HBO stage?
I don't think he's ill prepared for the HBO stage, but I think he fought a shit fight tonight. And he's my fighter. He fought a shit fight. That's the answer. And I don't know that I think maybe he took for granted the fact that Canelo had knocked that kid down 5 times, and you know, I don't think he paid enough attention to how rough a customer Cuellar was. And, you know, he gave Chavez fits, and Chavez is a big boy. I think he's ready for it. And like, I mean, like I saw Hugo Andrade walked up to me and said he wants to fight Willie Nelson on HBO. Let's do it. Let's do it. You know, I think let's do it. Let's make the fight. You know, Willie won the fight. He struggled a little bit. I thought he won 7. I mean, I had the same score as the judges. I thought he won 7-5. I didn't think there was anything for the other kid to complain about. I mean, I think in a fight that close, I understand why the other kid thought he won because fights that close. But you know, right now, I don't want to. I'll be honest with you, Steve. I don't want to back Willie up. I want Willie to be forced to fight the best again. And if he can't rise to the occasion, then he can't. And if he does, he does. Because right now, if we don't make those kind of fights, no one's going to give a shit. It's my honor to bring up. I'll repeat this because Gennady didn't hear it, and hopefully somebody that can translate for Gennady can help me here. But what I tweeted out to the world, the Twitter world, is that this man is a beast. He's an animal. He's a throwback to generations ago in this sport. And I have nothing but respect for him. I think he's a great young fighter. I think he's a great champion, and he's only going to get better. And I think a star was born tonight. And I'm proud that this was my promotion. And I'm proud that Gennady Golovkin fought on my card, because this is a man that you're going to be hearing about for years to come. And I expect one day could very well be #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. So it's my pleasure to turn the stage over to Tom Hoffman and to turn the stage over to a great fighter. Triple G should stand for great, great, great.
Thank you, Lou. It was great working together with Lou on this promotion. I think this is a big statement for Gennady, for anybody who doubted his punching power, the class that he's at. Unequivocally, we're saying that he's the best middleweight in the world right now. We have a lot of respect for Sergio Martinez, Julio Cesar Chavez, but right now we believe he's the best middleweight. The way he dismantled Matthew Macklin, we have a lot of respect for Macklin. He showed a lot of heart. He's one of the best middleweights around, and the way Gennady took him apart and landed the body shot, it shows not only can he knock guys out with headshots, but with a single body shot. So with that, I wanted to introduce the team. Abel Sanchez, one of the best trainers in the world. His manager, Max Herman, and of course, Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. Before Gennady says something, I'd like to bring up Ed Levine, who's got a small presentation for him.
I'll make this short and sweet. Gennady, tonight I'm joining an elite group of IBO champions. Lennox Lewis, Roy Jones Jr., Vladimir Klitschko. They all had 5 successful defenses on the IBO title. And fighters who can achieve that, that's tremendous. But what impresses me that I have to say to everybody is not only are you a superstar and a great champion, but you're a unique champion, because besides being a great fighter, you are a gentleman and a sportsman, something that boxing really needs today. So with that, with saying that, let me present to you the IBO World Championship ring, emblematic of 5 successful defenses.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Big day for me today.
We'll be around to answer any questions that the media might have. Also want to acknowledge Aurelio, he's the WBA supervisor. This was the 8th title defense of the WBA title.
Good night to everybody. WBA also wants to congratulate Golovkin. He made a great fight tonight, and also he demonstrated that he's a very good champion. Yeah, he always, every fight that he has been doing, he has improved, so congratulations.
So with that, we can open it up for any questions. Gennady's knockout streak is alive at 14 knockouts in a row. Still the highest knockout percentage of any active champion and any middleweight champion in history. So if anyone has questions, we'll be happy to answer it. Also, Abel Sanchez or Max Herman. Steve.
Tom, this question is for both Gennady and Abel. Based on the fact your last HBO performance, you were a little bit sick and you didn't put on the performance that you wanted, how satisfying is it for both of you guys to be 100% tonight and put on that dominant of an outing?
Yes, today my performance is very good because I feel it's great. I feel it's great, seriously, just 100%. You know, just after the first round, just I control fight. Just I feel my power, I feel my distance. Just easy fight to win.
Abel, you want to?
Yeah, I think for the last fight, we didn't want to make too many excuses. We didn't want to belittle Gabe Lozada, who put up a great fight. But the two-day series that HBO put out exemplified the fact that he was very, very sick. So yeah, we came into this fight 100%, and he showed it. He's an animal in the ring when he's 100%, and there's nobody, like I said before, at 154 to 168 that can't stand his power.
Abel, you still contend? Do you feel stronger than ever? Because you train guys like Miguel Gonzalez and Terry Norris. This is the best fighter you've ever trained?
This was the best fighter 2 years ago that I've ever trained. And he's just getting better. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Thank you.
Is there anyone specifically on your radar that you would like to get into the ring? Sergio Martinez. Anyone else that you would like to get in the ring?
You know, yeah, right now a lot of champions, Peter William, Daniel Gill, even Wilfred Chávez Jr., and just big man. It's very interesting right now division, middleweight. Of course, just, I want, just, you know, just a good question for my promotion, just I'm ready, just for me, for everybody. For everybody, just who's next, it doesn't matter.
Good Choker, he tweeted out, he would like to get in with you in the ring. And,
Absolutely.
He said make it a pay-per-view fight.
He's not worthy of a pay-per-view fight. What's he going to sell?
Peter.
He tweeted it.
Just like they're not responding going into the ring, and he said it would be a lot easier fight.
But he blew up on Twitter.
Why and what did you see from the beginning, which basically confirmed what you said 24 hours before?
Because he wasn't sick. Because he was 100%. Because there's nobody from 154 to 168 that will stay 12 rounds with Gennady Golovkin.
Whatever Macklin would do, it does not matter.
After the second jab, if you notice, Macklin's tactic completely changed. He was brave, but that was, like I said at the beginning, being brave was his detriment, was the worst thing that could have been for him because he was going to try to fight. As soon as he tried to fight, this guy's a lot stronger than everybody understands. And that body shot was set up by a lot of shots on the top that made Macklin, that was the plan, made Macklin hold his hands up and then kill the body. I didn't think it was going to be one shot, but it must have been a perfect shot.
To clarify that, Peter, it wasn't that Abel was saying it'd be an easy fight in terms of any disrespect to Macklin, or that that he didn't have the quality to stick around with Gennady. It was the better opposition that the Gennady fights, the better fighter that you'll see in the ring, and that's what Abel's been saying for really the last 2 years. Like you said, he's been working with him for 3 years, so that's not taking anything away from Macklin. It's just a style. He knew that Macklin wasn't going to run away. He was going to be there and trade with him. And that's really what made it, style-wise, match up well for Gennady.
This question was posed before you guys got here. Basically, someone asked, HBO has to be forced to put these middleweights in against you. Like the guy, Darren Barkley, the promoter said he doesn't want to put him in there with you. Or Daniel Gale, who dropped his belt because he didn't want to fight you. And they're fighting in August. Do you think a performance like this forces HBO to put one of those guys in against you?
You know, in my performance right now is great. You know, preparation to just I had a great time from my team, you know, from the coach, from my gym. It's not my problem. Just I work for everybody. Right here, it's right. And my focus right now, middleweight. Just I want.
We have to, based on that question, we have to give a lot of thanks to HBO. Without their help making this fight, it would have never been made. As Lou said before the fight, it wasn't an excuse. Macklin really didn't want to fight him now. He wanted one fight beforehand and then fight him in the fall. But HBO really stepped up because they felt it was the right fight at this time to make for both Gennady and Macklin. And without their help, this fight wouldn't have been made. We also want to acknowledge Foxwoods Resort Casino up here in Connecticut. It's a great facility, and we had a wonderful time staying up here.
Golovkin some sort of contract with HBO for his fights, or can you work with Showtime in order to make Peter Pullen fights? Because by saying you want Peter Pullen or guys like that, we all know he fights from Golden Boy and Showtime, so it's saying it really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Gennady fights exclusively on HBO. I think the Quillen fight can be made. Gennady's clearly above where Quillen's at right now. He's a much more popular fighter, sells a lot more tickets. That's no disrespect to Peter. Peter's a great champion in his own right. He's fought at the Barclays Center before. He fights on Showtime, but if that fight's going to be made, it would be made on HBO because we feel they have a bigger budget and they get higher ratings. And with a performance like this tonight, we feel that if that fight's made, it will be on HBO.
Do you feel you're going to be that asset that brings Hirschman to work with Golovkin again?
If it's the right fight, we've had discussions, and if it's the right type of fight, I mean, look, they made Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson before, and it was the similar situation. So if that fight, if Quillen continues to win, and if Gennady continues to win, they'll be on a collision course. At some point, they'll make that fight.
This question is for Chico G. Lately, I think because of money, a lot of boxers are going for catchweights. Akio started that. Are you willing sometime in the future to consider a catchweight fight with either Canelo Alvarez or Andy Ward when the time is right?
No, seriously, no. I like boxing because boxing is big classic for me. No, just okay. Yeah, I'm a fighter, but I don't want to box. I like boxing. I love boxing.
To clarify that, no, he feels that the divisions are the divisions. There's no reason to, if Andre is a 168-pound champion, then we'll fight him at 168. If Canelo's 154 or he wants to move up to 160, then we'll fight at 160. There's a reason why they have weight divisions.
To all three of you, do you feel that it's fair for your fighter as a team to have to move up or down when there's so many people in your division? I mean, it seems like HBO is getting as many super middleweights and middleweights as possible, clearly for Golovkin, but they also have an angle in pushing him towards Andre Ward. Is it fair for you and your fighter to have to move up to 168 to fight Ward? Yes, it's a big fight.
I can answer that question because we've had a lot of discussions about that in the past. The priority is definitely for Gennady to stay at middleweight, and there's a lot more to prove at middleweight for him. There's a lot of champions like we just discussed. Matthew Macklin was one of the top names at middleweight, but there's a lot of other great names. With that being said, if there's a big fight at 168 or 154, a compelling fight that makes sense, he's willing to do that. Right now, we don't think it's the right time, but if there's a fight against the Canelo at 154, against the Mayweather at 154, or if Andre Ward, he's still, he's still kind of recovering right now from the injuries, but if that becomes a compelling fight down the road, then that would make sense. But it's only going to be a fight by choice between Abel and Gennady if they move up to 168.
Now, Ward said tonight that he's ready for Golovkin, but that if we ask this team, that you'll say Golovkin needs 1 to 2 years.
I mean, Abel can probably answer that better. I don't think Golovkin needs any time to fight anyone. I think a fight like that is a huge fight if it became a reality between Gennady and Andre Ward, but that's a fight that would take time just to make sense. And that's not backing out of the fight, it just wouldn't make sense at this particular time. Abel can answer that as well.
I'm not always politically correct, but I've told you in the past, you have to shame these guys into accepting a fight. They keep talking, but all they do is talk. Andre's got to come to the table, call Tom Lawfer. I say that consistently, call Tom Lawfer. There's a lot of fights that can be made, but all of a sudden they want so much money that it can't be made. So, shame them. You guys have to shame these guys into fighting. All the names that you're mentioning are just talking.
But the promoter is saying it's not the right time for Ward.
As Andre called him, this is the star here. Andre needs to call Tom.
We feel, and again, we went into this with I think the 2-day series touched on it a little bit. We all have a lot of respect for Andre Ward. He's clearly the best 168-pound fighter out there. With that being said, a fight like that where Gennady were to move up, it just takes time. It wouldn't make sense to move up right away and fight the top guy at 168 when he's still building his name at 160. You'll see with the ratings and the HBO campaign that they did around this fight that he's still building his name, and there's a lot of names at 160 that make a lot of sense. But that fight, if Andre stays at 168, that fight probably next year would make a lot of sense. It's not that he's not ready for it, it just wouldn't make sense from a promotional standpoint. Why would you shortchange both fighters when that fight could be a monster fight next year as opposed to rushing it? That's the part that doesn't make sense.
Tom, question for you and Gennady. With the nature of this fight being short, I know that you guys have maybe a date in November at the Garden. Gennady, is it your preference to fight before November and then get to that fight, or after that fight to complete your 5 fights this year?
Just good time for me is November. I can in September too. It's maybe in September. I have time. I have.
Tom, your thoughts?
We have the next HBO date is set for November. However, there are 2 other options in August and September that we'll weigh and decide which one makes the most sense for him. We still definitely want to fight 5 times this year. We wanted to make a statement this year of Gennady being one of the most active champions around. And if right now he has 3 fights, this was the 3rd fight on HBO, but the 3rd title offense this year. And the next HBO date would be November. However, if an opportunity came up in between then, he would definitely fight in between.
Maybe after I'm making final because I'm lost. No, never. Yeah. Easy fight. Every fight is final.
Chris, is that time physically I was talking about?
Yes.
Last time.
Right.
Physically.
Not physically.
As a matter of fact, yes, Tom and I discussed that with the I have to change the way I spar him, the way I'm working, just to make sure that we're not overdoing it because he is fighting so consistent. But we made those adjustments. On the rounds and guys we spar with, I'm sparring with speed guys, bigger guys I'm sparring before. Unfortunately for him, he can't really work like he wants to because his guys are too small. We're working more on his soft a lot more movement in his head, a lot more positioning, trying to get angles. So the speed guys kind of do that for us and it keeps him from wearing out. We do a lot of tactical work in the gym. We do a lot of movement, a lot of, like I said, positioning. We put, I won't say armor, but we put pads on the guys in the gym so that they don't get hurt when he hits them. So, seriously. So, they working hard and he works hard without trying to hurt him, but if he does happen to let go one, they have padding on him so that they...
Can you keep him continuing to work that hard when the fights are coming so easy?
He wants to. He wants to. He just, he's so motivated. He knows it's his time.
Yeah, I think there's not that much vision. I think because different class nowadays. Okay, I respect Matthew today. Just nothing for me today. Just not because I'm in different class.
Dan, I can answer that from a promotional standpoint. When I started working with Gennady, he had so much pent-up frustration for not being able to display his talents and not being able to get in the ring and not being able to defend his titles as much as he wanted to. Now that he has that ability, he's willing to make the sacrifice. He understands at 31, he's still a young champion, but he's in the prime of his career, and if he really wants to make the statement of becoming one of the best middleweights ever, it's going to take activity and to fight, to defend the title often. One thing that's very unique about Gennady, besides the fact that he has such a marketable and likable personality outside the ring and such an attractive style inside the ring, but one thing that's unique about him is that he doesn't wait, or he doesn't have to wait. If HBO has a full schedule and they can't accommodate him, I mean, he had a great offer from Monte Carlo in March, and that's why we took that fight. And it was, you know, he had the Prince Albert in the ring congratulating him, putting the belt around him. I mean, how many fighters can say that? That was, you know, we thanked Roddy Berman for putting that fight together. It was a tremendous fight. We have another fight offer now from South Africa. I mean, these are the type of fight offers that he has around the world. And the definition of being a world champion is not just fighting here in the States or in New York or wherever. It's he wants to fight around the world and fight the best fighters around the world, whether it's going to England, going to Australia, going to Europe, and that's really, you know, the focus is to fight here on HBO in the United States, that's clear, but when there's opportunities that make a lot of sense for his career, he'll take advantage of those as well.
You know, as fight fans, we expect a lot from our champions, so clearly we already want to know what's next. Being as though that this date is for November, are you guys looking to see what happens in August with Barker and Gill, or is Martin Murray a possibility? Because, and I say this only because Abel has told me numerous times that you guys submitted 25 names, so you basically know who HBO is going to accept and who they're not. It's not a thing where you have to wait. You know who they're going to take.
We actually didn't submit any names. We just accepted all the names in the middleweight. You know, it's like they were not used to it. When I went into the office with Gennady last year and with Max, said he'll fight anybody, and it wasn't that he was stretching. You know, a lot of fighters say, "I will fight," but then all of a sudden, financial conditions or the doping, or whatever, there's always an excuse. With Gennady, it wasn't an excuse. I mean, Lou DiBella made a lot of sacrifices to make the fight with Macklin. And we made a lot of concessions on our side to make the fight a reality, but those are how these big type of fights get made. And when you have a champion like Gennady, we're willing to make concessions in order to further his career and make the fight a reality in the ring. And that's, I think, what sets him apart is the fact that he is willing to fight everybody.
But in terms of an opponent for November?
Oh yeah, getting back to that. So, I mean, the winner of Gill or Barker, you know, Daniel Gill has a title. It's not the title that he started with when he was forced to fight, or when he was supposed to fight Gennady. But I mean, he's still a great champion, and the winner of that fight is a reality. Although it's my understanding that they have a mandatory coming up. But you know, Martin Murray put on a great performance against Sergio. A lot of people thought that he might have won that fight over there in Argentina. So that would be interesting. It's just that Murray has had visa problems, but you know, fighting Murray in England, that would be a possibility too, even though it's unusual for a champion to go to someone else's backyard. If that's a fight that makes sense down the road, he would do that because that's a great fight as well. It really depends on, I mean, we have November, that's a great option on HBO, but if there's a different option that comes up, we would certainly take that and then we can adjust the November date. So it really depends on what opportunities come up and if it makes sense, you know, for his career, because there's a lot of things that change constantly. I mean, Chavez was supposed to fight in June and July and August, now it's September 7th, and we're still not sure if he's going to fight in September. So a lot of things change in the middleweight division. So after a performance like this, I think it'll open up a lot of doors, and it certainly made HBO excited with the performance, and I know they were supportive before the fight, and they'll be 10 times more supportive after this fight.
Is it frustrating for you as a promoter at all, or as long as you get your fighter a fight, it's okay? Because I know you said Barker or Gill, but Gill already done. He gave up the belt. And Eddie Hearn said he has no interest in fighting Golovkin with Barker because, you know, he cares for his fighting. So,
well, Eddie actually, I have a lot of respect for Eddie, but after the boxing fight, he said he's never going to let any of his fighters fight Gennady again. So, it was frustrating last year. We have to say it was very frustrating last year. This year, you know, having fought twice on HBO within 6 months, a lot of fighters can only hope for that. And making 3 title defenses, and each one of those, you know, financially were very rewarding for Gennady, and it was a great step in his career. And it's a situation now that I think this performance will open up a lot of doors. So frustration was behind us last year. This year, Felix Sturm ducked him for 2 years and pretty much did everything he could to avoid the mandatory. Daniel Gill give up the title. But at some point, people are going to realize that he's the best middleweight champion, and he's becoming the most marketable middleweight champion as well.
How far along are you guys in the WBC rankings to force a fight with Sergio Martinez? I mean, rest of the year he's out, but it doesn't look like they want to make that fight higher.
Well, Lou said it was pretty clear that Sergio's going to be out for a while because of the injuries. Gennadi's actually not ranked by the WBC because he's, the WBA champion, IBO champion, so they don't rank other champions. And we can't really force Sergio to fight. It would be a unification fight, and the conditions would have to make sense, for him to be in the ring. But I know if that opportunity came up where Gennadi were to fight Sergio, we would probably make a lot of concessions on our side to make that fight. Not only, usually unification fight is 50-50, but I'm sure Gennadi would welcome that opportunity, and we've been flexible with HBO, and we've worked with them very well in the past, and that's something that we would definitely look into as far as making that fight with Martinez.
On one hand, the way he fights is probably what we want to get, but on the other hand, increasing exposure, increasing money. Is it getting harder or easier to make fights for that?
Right now it's easier. I mean, I don't know, after a performance like this, we have to see what happens next week, but definitely financially, it makes it easier. That's really what attracted, or that's what enabled us to make the fight with Macklin, or for Lou to put that fight together on his side. And the discussions I've had with HBO, it's just going to increase after that. So at some point, there's going to be a lot of money. Right now, there is a lot of money on the table for someone to get in the ring with Gennadi, and that's what makes it possible.
Tom, how far off is the possibility of maybe a Chavez fight? Because Bob Arum's been in the media basically praising Golovkin and basically saying a Chavez fight might be something to look forward to, maybe not this year, but next year.
We have a good relationship with Top Rank, and we did a co-promotion with Bob in January in Madison Square Garden, and he has nothing but good things to say about Gennadi. Chavez has clearly proven, even though he lost to Martinez, he's probably still the most marketable middleweight out there. I mean, Chavez can fight anyone, and it's going to be a great attraction. So that's something, again, that's another great fight, a marketable fight that we would be willing to do, make concessions to make that fight happen. We can't force Chavez to fight, but I think, again, with the right amount of time and build up for that fight, that would be a monster promotion as well. I think style-wise, I think people might agree with that, style-wise, because Chavez gets in the ring and is so big and therefore so durable when he gets in the ring, I think that would be a great matchup stylistically in the ring.
Tom, you mentioned that you don't submit any names to HBO, but you accepted every name at middleweight. Does that mean that there were other names that weren't at middleweight that you didn't accept? And if so, is it because you want to keep Golovkin at middleweight for a longer period?
There hasn't been a name that HBO came up with that we haven't accepted, just to make that clear. I mean, at 154, it hasn't really been reality yet, or 168, you're getting back to that question, it just doesn't make sense unless it's a monster promotion. But in order to make that happen, we think that there's still a lot of fights at middleweight. If they had come to us and said, we have a great fight against one of the junior middleweights, we could have made that fight. But that hasn't been the case, and we certainly haven't turned on any names.
He came to camp on May the 1st, walked in the door, put him on a scale to weigh 167. He's a grown man, he doesn't go anymore. I bet you if he fights 168, he probably wouldn't weigh more than 170 at the fight. He's a professional, he watches his weight very well, so it's not a problem to get to 54. I just have to have enough time to make sure that we start early in the campaign, early in the training camp to get him down, but it wouldn't be a problem. If, again, like Tom said, the right opportunity came along and all the things that had to be worked out promotional-wise were worked out. And to go to your question, what I said to you was that Tom gave me a list of 25 fighters to see if I would approve them, and would turn nobody down. So that was what I was telling you.